Have you ever caught yourself in a situation where you realized, wow, I would have handled this so differently a few years ago? Maybe you stayed calm during an argument or chose to walk away from drama instead of diving in. Those little moments often go unnoticed, but they might be proof that you're growing more than you realize. So let me ask you, are you more emotionally mature than you think? Here's the truth. Emotional maturity doesn't mean you never get upset, or that you're suddenly flawless at handling every challenge. It's not about perfection. It's about progress, choosing growth a little more often each day. And in this video, we'll explore 9 clear signs that show you're leveling up emotionally in ways you may not have noticed. Why does emotional maturity even matter? Think about it. Immaturity often looks like drama, defensiveness, and endless conflict. It's exhausting for you and for everyone around you. On the other hand, maturity brings peace, clarity, and trust. It strengthens love, deepens friendships, and even builds respect in your career. People naturally rely on those who can stay grounded when emotions run high. That's why emotional maturity isn't just a nice to have. It's a life skill that changes everything. And once you start noticing the signs, you'll realize how far you've already come. Let's begin with the very first one. Sign number 1, you respond, not react. Have you noticed you don't explode the way you used to? Instead of snapping instantly, you pause, breathe, and then decide how to respond. That's emotional maturity in action. Reacting on impulse usually leads to chaos, harsh words, regret, or broken trust. But responding gives you control, even when emotions run hot. And here's the best part. It doesn't take a huge transformation. Even a small pause, just 5 seconds of breathing before replying counts as progress. If you've started responding instead of reacting, you're already proving to yourself and others that strength is found in calm, not in chaos. Sign number 2, you take responsibility, not blame others. Immaturity always points the finger outward. It's their fault, their mistake, their problem. But maturity sounds different. It says, I messed up and I'll learn from it. Taking responsibility isn't weakness, it's strength. Imagine this. You argue with a friend, and later you realize you crossed a line. Instead of sulking or shifting blame, you say, I overreacted. I'm sorry. That honesty builds more respect than pretending you're flawless. Because maturity isn't about never making mistakes. It's about owning them, learning, and doing better next time. Every time you take responsibility, you prove you're choosing growth over ego. Sign number 3, you value boundaries. Immaturity often shows up as people-pleasing, saying yes when you want to say no, bending until you break, just to keep others happy. But maturity recognizes that self-respect matters. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's healthy. It tells the world, I know my limits, and I respect myself enough to honor them. And surprisingly, boundaries don't just protect you, they also strengthen relationships. When people know your yes is genuine and your no is honest, trust grows deeper. If you've started saying no when you mean it, and yes only when you want to, that's a clear sign of emotional growth. Sign number 4, you don't need to win. Every argument, remember, when every disagreement felt like a battle you had to win? That's immaturity, the obsession with being right. But maturity shifts the focus from winning to understanding. Sometimes peace is more valuable than proving your point. Not every hill is worth dying on. Imagine 2 people arguing endlessly just to protect their egos. Nothing changes, and resentment grows. But when you choose to step back and say, this isn't worth losing my peace, you prove your growth. Real strength isn't about dominating an argument. It's about knowing when silence, compromise, or letting go is the wiser choice. Sign number 5, you can sit with uncomfortable emotions. Immaturity runs from discomfort. It distracts, avoids, numbs with scrolling, food, or denial. But maturity has the courage to sit with emotions, even the heavy ones. Feeling sadness, anger, or fear doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And staying present with those feelings, instead of escaping them, shows incredible growth. Maybe you no longer bury your pain, but allow yourself to cry, reflect, or simply breathe through it. That's strength. Because facing emotions is harder than ignoring them, but it's also the only way to heal. If you can sit with discomfort, you're becoming stronger than you know. Sign number 6, you celebrate others without envy. Immaturity feels threatened by someone else's success. Jealousy whispers that their win means your loss. But maturity celebrates without envy. You cheer for friends, admire their growth, and feel inspired instead of bitter. True strength shines when others succeed, and you don't feel smaller, but motivated. If you can clap for others sincerely, that's growth. Sign number 7, you accept what you can't control. Immaturity clings tightly, obsessing over every detail. Maturity releases what's beyond reach. You recognize that no amount of worry changes outcomes, so you focus on what you can influence. That calm acceptance is freedom. Instead of being drained by control, you're fueled by peace. Letting go isn't giving up, it's choosing sanity over stress. Sign number 8, you apologize sincerely. Immature apologies sound like, sorry, but mature ones are clean and direct. No excuses, no defensiveness, just, I was wrong. I'm sorry. A sincere apology rebuilds trust faster than explanations ever could. When you stop protecting your ego and start protecting relationships, it shows you've grown from pride to genuine humility. Sign number 9, you're comfortable with growth taking time. Immaturity demands instant results, quick fixes, overnight change. But maturity understands growth is a lifelong process. You don't shame yourself for slow progress. You honor the small steps. Healing takes time, and maturity accepts that. If you've learned to be patient with your own journey, it's proof you're embracing real, lasting growth. So let's recap the 9 signs. You respond, take responsibility, value boundaries, don't need to win every argument, sit with emotions, celebrate others, accept what you can't control, apologize sincerely, and embrace growth as a journey. Even spotting just 1 or 2 of these in yourself proves you're already walking the path of emotional maturity. Progress matters more than perfection. Here's the truth. Emotional maturity isn't about flawless self-control or never slipping up. It's about noticing patterns, making better choices, and slowly building inner strength. If you recognized yourself in even a few of these signs, that means you're growing, and growth is always worth celebrating. So don't see your progress as small, see it as proof you're evolving. You're already further than you used to be. Now let me ask you, which of these signs do you see in yourself? Share your reflections in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on mastering your emotions and building quiet strength.